All right, so this is lesson number 6. Um, so how was your past week?
It was good.
Anything new?
No, just same old school and all.
Almost Thanksgiving's almost here, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do some warm-ups. We're going to work on some vowels again. We're going to work on some breath support.
Okay.
And we're going to look at that close every door we looked at last week again. And
Okay.
if we have time, maybe we'll go back and look at the other piece that we were working on earlier, just to kind of keep that in our memory. And for our 8th lesson, when we get to that, I'm hoping we can do a warm-up and go through both of the pieces and sort of have like an opportunity to see how far you've come from your first lesson on these pieces.
Okay.
And how much better, like maybe you're thinking about diction and breath support and those types of things. I think would be really kind of neat to see as a marker where you were and how far you've come. And do you have any questions on anything before we get started in terms of what we've been doing, or?
No.
Okay, all right. Do you feel like your range has been, like where we've been working has been decent for your singing voice?
I think so.
Okay, and I know you've had a little bit of a cold. You've been very congested over the past little bit, and you're fighting off a cold, so hopefully on the other end of it. And so let's do a little bit of warming up, and we'll start down here. And we'll just start with a nice, easy, maybe doing some lip trills. And if the lip trills bother you, you don't have to necessarily do that. You can do sort of like, like a trumpet, as your lips are together, but like a little bit of air. Or you can just do the lip trill. It makes your lips kind of vibrate and tickle a bit. But as you're doing it, think of your air as a steady stream coming through. So even though we're just doing a warm-up, you could be activating the idea of breath support. And so as you're going, like sometimes our sound kind of shuts down or clamps down because we don't like keep the air consistent. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just giving you something to think about as you do it. So in this very easy, gentle warm-up, even though it's just a lip trill, it takes air to keep those lips moving and to keep that vibration going. So this is a really good exercise for starting to activate some of your breath support. So we're going to keep going down, and just think about that as you're doing it. Nice, steady, easy, controlled, steady flow of air. we'll do the one we've done in the past. That was. Let's do it on a E to an O. So we'll go.
Okay.
E, O, E, O. On those vowels. So why do we go from an E to an O? Do you know why I'm using different vowels in there?
To learn how to control the resonance.
Yeah, like you're trying to keep resonance, right? Find that point of resonance, and then you're trying to sustain with air, and then the changing mouth shape, right? So now it's easy to find resonance on one particular vowel. But when you have to change that vowel to another vowel, but then you have to keep the airflow and the resonance steady. So we practice these things so that we can figure that out. Because it's a little bit different for everybody how we feel and sense what's going on. And it's just a matter of practicing it so we can say, oh, that worked and that sounds good. You know, there are some basic things we apply and basic knowledge we apply, but then it's a matter of figuring out what works. I'm impressed with how high you went in your falsetto. That's really good. Let's go back here and let's do let me think for a second. What I was gonna do with you is E-A-O-U, maybe like that. So now what we're doing is running through all of the vowels. And the idea is to use the, opening the throat, lifting of the palate, and the placement of the tongue, so that we're not doing a lot of movement necessarily with our jaw to get those different sounds. And trying to keep sort of a similar pattern internally so we can keep that same type of sound. So we could go like E or E or E, and whatever we do with our mouth, lips, tongue, teeth, etc., shapes and changes the type of sound we get. It also changes the way it resonates as it comes out. So let's do we're gonna just do the 5 notes. I'm going to go up and down on the vowel. So it starts out with wait a minute. Yow. All right, you want to try that? how the connection of those vowels together, like, starts to make you think about, like, how you're shaping them one from the other and how similar they actually can be as you pronounce them. So when we talk, I think we don't really think about the similarity of our vowels, but when we sing, it's kind of important because it helps us with our projection and diction and all of those things. All right, let's try one more. We're going to go down here and we're going to do the one we did. Yeah, so I want you to think about, like, as you're going up, you're springing off the lower note. Kind of like a springboard. And they're connected. And use the support underneath it, meaning use airflow. Don't let the air stop, because the air stopping will make it harder for you to keep them connected. Okay? It doesn't mean you have to push hard. It doesn't mean you have to use, like, be uncomfortable. You're supposed to be relatively comfortable in taking the breath, but take a good solid breath. We didn't really do any breathing today. We didn't even warm up our shoulders. So if you want to just take a second and kind of stretch out those areas and relax for a second there, because as we go to approach something that may be a little more work, it's good to think about, like, okay, there's no tension in my jaw, no tension in my shoulders. So that's what we're going to do. So think of a springboard. Okay, ready? 3, 4. Think of it more like more of an A sound, like a brighter A sound, if that makes sense. Ready? 3. Because it's getting higher, you want to pinch that A a little bit.
What does that mean?
Instead of so, like, letting that relax, letting that A be a little more open versus closed.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's good. You're up there pretty good. So, and you have to flip from sort of like a chest mixed head voice to falsetto to get those upper notes. One more time, right here. Whoops, up the upper. Yeah, so you see how they connected on the way down? It was harder for you going up because you're coming from the chest. And then you got up here and you flipped. And it sort of like fell down like a waterfall, like, and you kept that sound. And that's all these exercises are for, to help you hear the differences in how your registers kind of like change as you move through the scope of what you can hit. It's kind of cool, right? Yeah. All right, that was pretty good. Okay, let's get on to some music. So let's look back at the Close Every Door. Let me see if I can brighten this a little bit more so we can see that. How's that?
Good.
words just so we know we have them in hand, right? Close every door to me, hide all the world from me, bar all the windows and shut out the light. Do what you want with me. Oh, come on, change. Oh, there it goes. Thank you. Hate me and laugh at me. Darken my daytime and torture my night. Yikes. If my life were important, I would ask, will I live or die? But I know the answers lie far from this world. Close every door to me, keep those I love from me. Children of Israel are never alone, for I know I shall find my own peace of mind, for I have been promised a land of my own. So he's going to skip that whole page right there, and I think that's where it picks up from there. Oh, that's why it's in backwards. 77, 78. That's why. This is 76. So it's scanned in backwards. Interesting. And then it comes back here. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. But we'll skip that whole middle section because we'll just go on from there. All right, you ready to give it a try?
Yeah.
So thinking about that breath that you just kind of exercise, keeping even flow, right? Clean consonants, and making the sound of the vowels nice and rich and full. So here we go. 2, 3.
Close every door. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll start again. Ready? 2, 3.
Close every door to me. Hide all the world from me.
Breath.
Bar all the windows and shut out the light. Do what you want with me. Hate me and laugh at me. Darken my daytime, my night. If my life were important,
Okay, so this is where you're going to have to let yourself get into that upper register. Don't try to force it from a chest.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of a mixed voice. The more you think lifting that soft palate area in the back. You know how we talked about like the yawn, like when you yawn or you take a deep breath or like you gasp, right? You feel like sort of a lifting of that palate in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, when you're getting up into these higher areas, lifting up that palate a little bit, making sure you're aware that, okay, in the back, I'm expanding this area to its fullest to let the air come through and carry those notes, and trying to resist any feeling of tension.
Okay.
Okay, so let's try it from right there. 2, 1. We're in 3, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Life were important, I would ask, would I live or die? But I know the answers lie far from this world.
All right, I want to stop right there for a second. When you hit answers, we sort of tend to sing in the same diction like we talk and with our own accent. So remember, any of those open vowels, make them nice and rounded.
Okay.
Okay, so like, but I know the answers lie. So answers lie. Try to give it like a rounder or more open tone and not and. Try to resist and.
Okay.
Like not the and, but like almost and instead of and. Okay, let's start back here. That was really good. And yes, use that falsetto. Don't be afraid of it, because the more you use it, the more you strengthen it, and it doesn't sound weak at all. Okay? Ready? Right there. 1, 2.
If my life were important, I would ask, will I live or die? But I know the answers lie far from this world. Close every door to me. Keep those I love from me. Children of Israel are
go back and do this verse again. You can see here this little crescendo sign when it goes like that from small to large. This is a section that's kind of like blossoming now. And so in the words of the song, you're kind of like a little showing confidence in that as it continues to grow. For I know I shall find. And I think you're going to have to use some falsetto in there, right? And again, think about how we connected those vowels. For I know I shall find. Those are not all that different from each other. For I know I shall find. Okay, so we'll keep some uniformity in that. My own peace of mind. So keeping those vowels nice and relaxed and open. So let's try it from here. It's from that second portion of the verse. Ready? 2, 3.
Close every door to me, keep those I love from me. Children of Israel are never alone, for I know I shall find my own peace of mind.
Yeah.
I have been promised a land of my own.
Let's do that again. You see, you're figuring that out. Yes, use the falsetto. And one of the things that, like, when I'm doing things that are high, we talked, I think, in one of the earlier lessons about our larynx and where our vocal folds are and how we have a tendency when we think high to let that larynx come up, and it sort of almost pinches the sound instead of like letting it expand. And you have to really think of a neutral position in that without like letting the tension or letting the larynx kind of come up and lift and like squeeze that. And so there's one of the things that I was told that can help that is, you know, when you cry or you're like, oh, and you sob or you make these sounds, you're actually like that weeping kind of like, oh, cry sound. That actually causes the larynx to kind of depress. I know that seems, or maybe it looks weird. Maybe what I'm doing looks weird. But some of the higher songs, when I sing them, I have to think in this mode like, because when you feel that, almost like bearing down or that pressure from that kind of a mode of thinking, that heavy emotion and crying. And you don't have to do this for me, you don't have to do it on camera, but like when you're home later or whatever, think about that and think about, maybe explore that for yourself in the privacy of your own home if you're uncomfortable trying it here and now. But like, you know, you've got this ability to lower or keep that larynx in sort of a neutral position. So when you think of this, right, for I know I shall find, think about like, for I know I shall find. I'm putting this emotion, right, this really heavy emotion into that, and I don't know if you can tell the difference between that and like screeching for it. For I know I shall find. I really can't get that note very clean. But when I put it into this, like, almost this intense kind of emotional type of feeling, and I can display that to a little, you know, a little bit, but it's more about the internal aspect of it. For I know I shall find. And there's like a different kind of thing that happens. All right, so why don't we try that? Because when you got into this second section, you kind of like gravitated toward that on your own. Like you instinctively did that, and you hit some of the notes a little bit differently, and it seemed like wow, like there was a wow moment in one of those notes there. I was like, okay, that's it, right? So let's try, let's just start it from here, going into children of Israel, right there. 2, 3.
Children of
force it out.
Did.
Yeah, we don't want to go for that. We're looking for the emotion. Imagine like you're crying. That's what I'm looking for. Can you want to try that? Can you try it and just see? Because we're just talking about experimenting with your voice. I know, but like you can see it in my expression, right? You know, when you start to think like of that type of expressiveness, like when you hold your breath, or you get into those modes where you just feel that weight and that emotion, and that's what we're looking for to kind of try to help the feel of the song, but also for those higher notes. So furrow your brow, and think of the emotion of what the words are saying as you go there. I'm not looking for you to belt it. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for what you did the first time, where you kind of started to feel that emotion, and you used like a mixed voice in there. You went into falsetto and then came down and sort of to a mixed voice. So can we try it one more time? Think of the words of what we're singing about. Ready? 2, 3.
Children of Israel will never alone, for I know I shall fight.
Nope, you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. Don't change anything you were doing before. Are you furrowing your brow? Let the vibrato come through. That's what I'm saying. Let your vibrato, let this be free. For I know I shall find. Really, really, like you're almost crying. For I know I shall find my own peace of mind. Like that, kind of. Can we try that? Don't belt. I'm not looking for you to belt. Ready? Just try to find it. We're playing here. We're just playing with it. They're not perfection. Ready? 2, 3.
For I know I shall find
Yes.
my own peace of mind.
Yes.
I have been promised the land of my own.
Yes. Yes. Did you feel the difference? You feel the difference in that, between that and the strain?
But I went in falsetto.
You went into falsetto, but in doing that, you allowed freedom, right? In your vocal cords, instead of trying to force them to get to those notes. And then if you will add or couple that with the emotion I'm trying to kind of express, like what I'm trying to get across, which I may not be getting across really well. If you can couple those two things, maybe play around with that this week. And we'll touch on that a little bit more next time. But can we do it one more time, just like that? Children of Israel, and then we'll be done, and we'll come back to this. But I think that's exactly what you need to do, is let it go into falsetto, into that little, and then as it comes back down, it falls into that mixed voice, and you can sort of manipulate it the way you want to with some of that emotion. Ready? Children of Israel. 1, 2, 3.
Children of Israel are never alone, for I know I shall find my own peace of mind. For I have been promised the land of my own.
Okay, we need to also work on breathing for that. So, children of Israel are never alone. That should all be in one thing. And don't be afraid to connect those notes. If you heard what I just did, children of Israel are never alone. Did you hear how it kind of it wasn't really a slide, but it was connected? So I don't separate that, not like that. Yeah, so that should all be one breath. For I know I shall find my own peace of mind should all be one breath. 3 separate phrases each on their own. And then I felt like on this section, somehow you went up into like a nasal, more of a nasal, like you sort of like started holding back instead of being just natural and free like you were in the beginning. So when I try to convey these ideas, don't feel like, okay, I'm not necessarily asking you to manipulate everything about your voice. I'm just trying to throw out things that might help you identify how to get to that note easier and with more like sound, more richness involved. And you have very good natural instincts when you sing. So if something you think I'm saying is like making you think like you've got to do something totally unnatural, then I'm miscommunicating. Because I'm never wanting you to strain or force something. It's about finding how your voice works, connecting it from, say, that mixed voice into that upper falsetto, and giving the air the ability to kind of connect those and make them sound similar. And you did the falsetto in the first note. You thought, I'm gonna try that E flat in my chest voice, and you got it, but it was very harsh, right, when you went up to mind. So I think find and mind both need to be in a falsetto. I think you need to go ahead and let that flip, and you have a very good instinct with flipping that. So don't let me, like, something I say take you out of that ability of like instinct. Instinct is very important to some, in music as well. So, all right, we'll stop there and we'll pick this up again next time.
Okay.
Okay.